kiloton nuclear explosion excavated more than 6 million cubic yards of earth in a matter of seconds. The result was a crater more than 1,200 feet in diameter, the length of 4 football fields, and 325 feet deep, the height of a 32-story building, created in less time than it takes to destroy.
What if I told you Nevada has a man-made crater so massive it can be seen from space? Or that most of this desert state was once an underwater world with ancient waves still carved into rock? You've heard of Reno and Las Vegas, sure. But did you know Reno used to have geysers? Or that Area 51 isn't even the weirdest thing hiding in the Nevada desert? From fireballs in the sky to laws that make zero sense, Nevada might just be America's strangest state. These aren't just quirky facts. These are the kinds of stories that sound 100% made up until you realize they're real. 25. Flooded desert. The Black Rock Desert, famous for Burning Man, isn't always dusty and dry. After heavy winter storms, the whole playa can flood, turning into a lake more than 10 miles across. This is no ordinary puddle. It is the ghost of ancient Lake Lahontan, a massive inland sea that once covered much of Nevada. Its old shoreline still traces the land today, reminding everyone that the desert was once deep underwater. 24. Ice Age Lake. During the last ice age, Nevada looked completely different. Huge pluvial lakes covered the Great Basin. The largest of them all was Lake Lahontan, which stretched across the state, deeper than 900 feet in places and bigger than Lake Ontario. Imagine sailing across what is now desert highways and mountain basins. Then, in a geological blink, the water disappeared, leaving behind salt flats and empty valleys. 23. Island carvings. High above Pyramid Lake are strange petroglyphs carved into stone. At first, they look out of place, but here's the twist. Thousands of years ago, those hills were not hills at all. They were islands surrounded by Lake Lahontan's waters. Ancient people carved their art on those rocky islands while waves lapped below. Today, the carvings sit stranded in the middle of the desert, like stories from a sunken world. 22. Desert Springs. Nevada may look bone dry, but beneath the dust are more than 25,000 natural springs. Some are hot, some are cold, but all of them create life in places you would never expect. Ash Meadows, for example, is a desert oasis where crystal clear water bubbles up from ancient aquifers that have been underground for thousands of years. These springs don't just quench the desert, they keep rare fish and plants alive that exist nowhere else. 21. Oldest trees. On Nevada's mountain peaks grow Great Basin bristlecone pines, some of the oldest living organisms on Earth. These trees were already standing when the pyramids in Egypt were built. Their secret is survival in harsh conditions. They grow slowly in thin soils, battered by freezing winds and scorching droughts. Their twisted shapes are proof of centuries of endurance. Each one is like a living time capsule. 20. Nevada's glacier. It seems impossible that America's driest state would have ice, but Wheeler Peak in Great Basin National Park hides a small glacier. Sitting at about 11,500 feet, it clings to the side of the mountain. You can literally drive from the burning sagebrush desert at the bottom to the snow and ice at the top. It feels like Nevada held onto a piece of the Ice Age just to surprise people. 19. Driest state. Nevada is officially the driest state in the United States. On average, it only gets about 10 inches of precipitation each year. Some areas get less than 4 inches, making them drier than parts of the Sahara. When rain does fall, it usually comes in sudden summer storms that vanish as quickly as they arrive, leaving behind a parched landscape once again. 18. Extreme heat and cold. Nevada has one of the widest temperature ranges in America. Its record high is a blistering 125 degrees Fahrenheit in Laughlin, while the record low is -50 in San Jacinto. That's a staggering 175-degree difference. One place feels like a desert planet, another like the Arctic. Few places on Earth pack that kind of variety into a single state. 17. Earthquake country. Nevada's ground doesn't sit still. The Great Basin is stretching, which makes Nevada one of the most earthquake-prone states in the nation. From 1973 to 2003, it ranked third for quakes over magnitude 5. In 1915, a massive 7.6 quake tore open a fault 37 miles long, lifting the ground nearly 19 feet. Another quake in 1954 created a fault scarp tall enough to stack 2 cars. The land is constantly shifting. 16. Boiling Street. In 2023, Reno residents witnessed something bizarre. A crack opened in the pavement and 208-degree water started pouring out, forming a bubbling pool in the middle of the street. Drivers swerved around what looked like a giant roadside hot tub. This wasn't a broken pipe. It was a natural hot spring bursting through the asphalt, proving Nevada's geology doesn't always stay underground. 15. Devil's Throat. At Gold Butte National Monument lies a sinkhole called Devil's Throat. It is about 100 feet wide and drops straight down 135 feet. Since the 1940s, it has slowly widened, looking like a hole that could swallow anything in its path. Standing near the edge, it feels like the earth has simply given way to something darker below. 14. Cathedral Gorge. Cathedral Gorge. State Park near Panaca looks like a Gothic church carved into the desert. Tall spires and narrow slot canyons reach up to 150 feet high, shaped over time by floods and erosion of volcanic ash and clay. Walking through the formations feels like stepping into a natural cathedral built by water instead of stonecutters. 13. Tufa Towers. The shores of Pyramid Lake are lined with unusual limestone towers called tufa formations. They were built thousands of years ago when hot mineral springs rose through Lake Lahontan and mixed with its water, leaving behind calcium deposits that grew into towers. When the lake shrank, these strange shapes were left standing tall, like chimneys from a vanished sea. 12. Sunken Town. The town of St. Thomas was swallowed by Lake Mead when the Hoover Dam was built. For decades, it lay under 60 feet of water. But as the drought lowered the lake, the ruins reappeared. Visitors can now walk through its empty streets, past foundations of homes and schools, like exploring a ghost town that surfaces whenever Nevada gets thirsty. 11. Fly Geyser. Fly Geyser in the Black Rock Desert looks like something out of science fiction, but it was actually created by accident. In 1964, a geothermal well was drilled and not sealed properly. Hot water and minerals escaped, building colorful cones streaked with red and green algae. To this day, Fly Geyser still sprays steaming water into the air. 10. Pupfish Habitat. The Devil's Hole. Pupfish may be the rarest fish in the world. These tiny creatures live in one single place, a limestone cavern in Ash Meadows. Their entire home is a ledge only 220 square feet in size. It is smaller than most living rooms, yet somehow they have survived in a near-boiling, low-oxygen pool for thousands of years. 9. Singing Dune. East of Fallon sits Sand Mountain, a massive dune 2 miles long and 600 feet high. When the wind hits it just right, the dune sings, producing a deep humming sound that echoes across the desert. The sand comes from the floor of ancient Lake Lahontan, piled up by the wind after the waters dried away. 8. Storm Hilary. In August 2023, Nevada experienced one of the wildest weather events in its history. The remnants of Hurricane Hilary dumped 9.2 inches of rain in just 24 hours. That is nearly the state's entire yearly average in a single day. Roads were destroyed, rivers overflowed, and locals were left stunned by the sudden downpour. 7. Salt Cave Paintings. Near Fallon, the Salt Cave hides red ochre paintings on its walls, left by travelers thousands of years ago. Handprints and figures still remain, preserved by Nevada's dry climate. These pictographs give a glimpse into prehistoric life in the Great Basin. 6. Little Finland. In Gold Butte National Monument, there is a place known as Little Finland. Despite the name, it is in the Mojave Desert, not snowy Scandinavia. Thin sandstone fins and delicate arches twist into shapes so odd, locals call them goblins. Wind and erosion sculpted this fragile landscape into a desert gallery of strange formations. 5. Diana's Punch Bowl. In the remote Monitor Valley, Diana's Punch Bowl looks like a giant natural hot tub built into a dome of stone. But don't jump in, the water inside is dangerously hot, well above scalding. It is one of Nevada's most unusual geothermal features, beautiful and deadly at the same time. 4. Moving Stones. At Bonnie Claire Playa, giant rocks weighing hundreds of pounds slide slowly across the desert floor, leaving long trails behind them. They only move under very specific conditions, when rain, thin ice, and wind combine. For years, people thought the stones had a mind of their own. Scientists have solved the mystery, but it is still one of Nevada's strangest sights. 3. Hidden River. The Amargosa River flows mostly underground for 125 miles through the desert before reaching Death Valley. You will not see it on the surface for most of its journey. It moves like a hidden lifeline, carrying water through one of the harshest environments on Earth. 2. Sedan Crater. In 1962, a nuclear test at Yucca Flat created the largest man-made crater in the United States. The explosion threw 12 million tons of earth into the air, leaving a pit 320 feet deep and more than 1,200 feet across. From above, it looks like a meteor just struck Nevada, but it was made by people testing atomic power. 1. Mirage Land. On Nevada's flat desert playas, hot air bends light into shimmering illusions that look like water. Stand in the middle and you feel surrounded by pools that vanish as you walk closer. These mirages are a reminder that the desert is full of tricks. Nevada is full of extremes: flooded deserts, singing dunes, hidden glaciers, rocks that move on their own, and hot springs that burst through city streets. This state is never what it seems. So which of these wild facts surprised you the most? And which one are you adding to your Nevada must-see list? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.